Yeah, so we've been in business about 5.5 years now. I've been fortunate enough to be here since the start. I was pretty much our first salesperson when it came to our company Surge product, even before we had the product, kind of coming in, collecting a lot of market feedback. Intent data was definitely a pretty new thing 4 or 5 years ago, or kind of a new concept. So, yeah, probably more than you bargained for there, but about 5.5 years.
Very nice. And if you could break down your ideal customer profile, how would you do that?
Yeah, I think, with what we do with intent data, really the big offering is we tell our customers what other companies are out there on the internet researching their products and services. So a lot of companies could benefit from intent data. I think our best customers are a little bit larger, probably like 100, 200 employees and up, someone that probably has a pretty decent MarTech sales tech stack in terms of the essentials like Salesforce, Pardot, HubSpot, Marketo, Eloqua on the marketing automation side. I think some companies that have BDRs and AEs that have that kind of high velocity sales outreach where BDRs are doing the hunting and AEs are kind of picking up what the BDRs pop up for them. We found that BDRs prioritizing their time based on these accounts that are showing intent is a really effective way to use it, and also one of the quickest ways to prove value. Sometimes with top of funnel marketing strategies, while they're incredibly effective, they take a little more time to see those results, because if you run an ad campaign, you might not know if it really worked until a little further down the road. And then I guess the last thing is any company that's really taken an account-based approach to marketing and sales is a big thing for us. As you and I've talked about in the past, really our version of intent data, company surge data, is really giving you a great list of companies. So if you have kind of an account-based setup where people are comfortable working off of accounts, we should be able to plug right in.
All right, Charles. So what are the main problems that you help your customers solve?
Yeah. So again, intent data really just letting you know which accounts are potentially in market to hear from you. Not necessarily saying they're going to buy something tomorrow, but just knowing that there's some interest out there. I think our biggest ways we help are prioritization. So either finding the right accounts to spend ad budget on, whether it's programmatic through LinkedIn, Facebook. A lot of the digital plays are awesome, but they can cost a lot of money, and they usually stay pretty stable. Besides for content changing, the parameters of who you target don't often change that much. With our intent data, we can find a smaller list of accounts that really actually do want to hear from you, and then turn that into an always on strategy. So as the interest changes, you're spending your budget and your time on the accounts that care. I think that probably more so stuff, or more bottom funnel stuff, are kind of the BDR plays we talked about, where these are pretty expensive assets. They're on the phone. They're kind of the spokesperson of your brand the first time they talk to a customer, and making sure they're spending their time on the accounts that matter, that are more receptive, and increasing that efficiency, bringing more pipeline deals in, lessening the sales cycle because you're coming after an account that already has some existing interest. We play into a lot of parts of the marketing funnel, but probably either prioritizing time, saving budget, or finding new accounts that maybe aren't even on your radar at all are probably the ways that were most helpful.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I can just see it right now how different, intent signals have driven our prioritization and ideal customer profile analysis. So, I mean, it's highly valuable, and I think the way you're talking about it, like the BDRs they're expensive assets, like you said, and we got to make sure that every conversation they're having is with somebody that could be buying, and having that level of information is very helpful. So are there specific verticals that you help or serve?
Yeah, I think we can help a lot of different types of companies. Historically, we've worked with technology companies a lot. We find that they do embrace this like dynamic changing pace of who to target when. We do work with healthcare companies, companies that are in finance, human resource management consulting, energy companies. So we're pretty all over the map, as long as we have good topic coverages for those industries and what they sell and what they market. But probably technology, healthcare, finance are probably the leaders in the pack in terms of our customer base.
Okay. And are there specific geographic locations for both your customer base, your best customers, and or the data that you can serve?
Great question. So we are global in terms of data coverage and also customer base. Most of our customers are centered here. We started our company, once we started selling this company surge data, we went after the big enterprises first. We had a pretty small sales team that was only focusing on what we considered, hyper strategic accounts that understood big data and rapidly changing data and had the operational infrastructure and sometimes the data science team to add in our data to their existing prioritization models. So we learned a lot from like the Salesforces, the HPs, the Ciscos, the Adobes, the Arubas of the world, where they do have a big focus here, but also internationally. So some of our larger enterprise customers here in the States definitely focus everywhere. We also have a couple smaller companies that only care about European or APAC data. I'd say coverage is strongest here in America. We're built on this this cooperative of big media companies that produce a lot of content. And most of them are headquartered here. We do have a lot in the States, and even the publishers and media companies we work with here have a ton of international traffic. But I think about 60% of the web traffic we analyze is domestic here in the United States or North America. Then about 25 to 30% is European. The remaining 10, 15% is APAC. So very, very long-winded that we're global, but we probably have a bigger coverage or a bigger footprint here in the States.
Yes.